What was the worst experience you've had during Halloween? I was walking home with my friend when I was like 9 and a car of high school kids, or around that age, stole all our candy. 3 hours of work, gone. I was like 7 or 8 and dressed like an angel. Parents took me to the science museum where they set up little houses for the kids to trick or treat in. I got so much candy and was so proud of myself. But when we left, all my candy was gone. The little boy behind me had been taking scoops of my candy and putting it in his basket. I cried. My friends telling me they weren't doing anything only to all hang out all evening while I stayed home alone. Teen years can suck. LOL. My friends in 7th or 8th grade told me they were going trick or treating across town and the host parents' car didn't have room for me. And then they instead went to a party at my next door neighbor's house. Like, dude, I can see you all arriving. What made you think your lie wasn't going to fall apart? My mom was pretty strict with how much candy I was allowed to eat on Halloween. One year, after some annoying begging, I finally got my mom to say, eat as much as you want. Heh. Afterwards I spent about an hour barfing up peanut butter cups and warheads. Getting tear gassed on Polk Street in San Francisco. Mid 1970s. Evening. Everyone is milling around in crazy Halloween costumes. Lots of fun. Very chill. Until some asshole chucks a tear gas canister into the crowd. Pure chaos ensued, and my throat was sore for 24 hours. I grew up in northern Canada, and when I was probably 5 or 6, I got me a Darth Vader costume, one of those vinyl costume and capes with a lightsaber and thin plastic mask. I thought I was so cool back then. Well, being northern Canada, it was exceptionally cold that year, like below -30°C. I went out that evening bundled up and ready to show off my cool outfit, but it was so cold, the costume just cracked and disintegrated as I went around the block. Due to the weather, I barely got around the block, but by the time I was home, I just had the lightsaber and mask. The rest of the costume just fell apart in pieces as I moved. I was trick-or-treating with 3 buddies freshman year of high school. We were joking about being a little old to do it, but it was all in good fun. Some kids 2 years older were running around in skull masks doing rowdy teenager stuff, and decided it would be a good idea to take my candy. They were much larger than us, and had no trouble. One grabbed my bag and another one grabbed me, and threw me down in the street. No serious injuries, but I had skinned knees and palms. I was pissed. I filed a police report and the officers took it seriously. We got out the yearbook, and identified 3 of them, and they were picked up that night. They were charged with strong arms robbery as juveniles and got a ton of community service and had to pay for my mom's lost pillowcase plus candy plus damaged clothing. I caught some flack for it at school from their girlfriends. They were ordered not to talk to me but didn't really care because I felt like justice was served. Had the stomach flu one year on Halloween. I was a month shy of turning 11. My parents took my younger siblings out trick or treating and I was stuck alone in the house blowing chunks out of both ends. I was going out with a girl back in high school whose birthday fell on Halloween. Her brothers absolutely hated my guts for no reason whatsoever. I wasn't a troublemaker, didn't do things I wasn't supposed to, and tried really hard to get on good terms with them. Anyway, she threw a birthday party for herself at her older brother's basement. I showed up with a couple friends, and while the party was pretty lame, I was there for her. When I went to give her the gift I had wrapped, her older brother grabs me by the collar and shoves me outside on the concrete steps. I asked him what his problem was. He told me to get the hell out of his house. His sister tries to get him to stop and tells me it's okay to go back inside the house. Her other brothers then showed up shortly after and well, I got my ass handed to me. I ended up just leaving the party with a black eye and a bruised up face. I lied to my parents that I'd picked a fight with someone and lost. We broke up shortly after. Getting so excited with all the candy I had and puking into the bucket of candy. This happened to my friend who is not on Reddit. It's Halloween night and there's a knock on her parents' door. Dad goes to open it, and there is a man with a bag on his head standing on their porch, silent. The man makes a move to step into their house and dad pushes him backwards. Everyone watches as the man falls backwards off of their step and smashes his head on the ground. It is revealed that the man with the bag is my friend's grandfather, mom's dad, who was trying to Halloween prank them. He was rushed to the hospital with permanent damage, no longer able to care for himself or his wife, who had health issues as well. They both ended up in convalescent care. Additionally, my friend's mother never forgave her husband, placing the blame of the accident entirely on his shoulders. They divorced shortly after. I was 14, and I went out with my group of friends, and I was always the one left out. They dressed up in girly costumes, and I was a full-on clown with big shoes. I walked with one of the girls' moms the entire time, because they were ahead and the big shoes slowed me down. They went into a haunted house, and I was too scared, so I waited outside, and then I couldn't sleep over, because I was really allergic to my friend's cat. I did find a $20 bill on the floor though. Junior year of high school, my cousin and I volunteered to drive some of the younger kids from church and chaperone their trick-or-treating. We were walking down the street, back toward my truck, when I hear a sound that was familiar, but didn't click at first. I hear it again, and feel something was past me, and hit the concrete. I realized it was someone with a pellet gun. About the time one of the little girls screamed this blood-curdling wail and fell down. He had shot her in the eye with a CO2-powered pellet gun. My cousin took off running toward a yard, leaned down and grabbed a hunk of gravel/concrete from the driveway and chunked it into the tree. He had a 92 miles per hour fastball and hit the kid, knocking him from a limb and onto the ground. I'm wrangling 7 kids, from 6 to 12 years old, all screaming and crying, while my cousin is beating the boogers out of this guy's sinus cavity. Parents are running outside, and it's chaos when the police and ambulance finally show up. Long story short, kid with the pellet gun got an assault with a deadly weapon and another charge, and the little girl, 8 years old, lost her eye from the incident. I was in the 5th grade and went to trick or treat. I got this pain in my lower stomach, so my mom took me back home. After what my mom saw in the bathroom, we figured out I started my period for the very first time. I had to wear a dress for school all the time. This one was below my knees, and when I was running, my feet got caught in the dress. I fell and skinned my knee and my legs. Went trick-or-treating anyway, because the blood made my costume look more real. It was freezing out, and I was shivering. Fell again and hurt my hands. But since it was so cold, it hurt even worse. While I was dealing with that, my friends wanted me to go to the neighborhood across the road. I said no, and said that I was hurting too much. One of the kids I was with said that I was a goody-goody because my parents wouldn't let me go, and I was lying to them about being in pain. He stole my candy, and I went home bloody and empty-handed. Someone threw a raw egg at my friends and I from a passing pickup truck, and it exploded against the back of my hand. Such pain. When I was around 11 or 12, I went out trick-or-treating with a friend. Ran into some older kids my friend wanted to hang out with, so we tagged along. They wanted to go pumpkin smashing. I was a rule follower and didn't want to be around trouble, but I let my friend talk me into it. We come to a house that had a bunch of great pumpkins. You could tell they spent a bunch of time on them. There was a candy bowl with a note, so the kids start destroying the pumpkins. I just watched, feeling uncomfortable. Couple days later I'm reading the paper and see a letter to the editor from the owners of house. They listed the address. It said how awful it was and how it wrecked their kids who spent so much time on the pumpkins. I felt sick. I showed my friend and he thought it was cool and took it to show those other kids. I realized then our association was more about living on the same street rather than friendship. I still feel terrible. Choked on a gobstopper. Heimlich got it out of my trachea, but it then got stuck in my esophagus, and I got it down with some bread. My throat hurt for days. My parents called an ambulance, but we got it resolved before they came. Super scary. I have 2 young kids now that have been getting gobstopper/jawbreakers on Halloween since they were 2. I always take them out and throw them away. My dad was pranking trick-or-treaters by spraying them with a water gun from a window as I gave out sweets. The same guy who my dad pissed off followed me and my friends around the neighborhood with a scary mask on to get revenge when we went out trick-or-treating. So creepy. I was 12 and a man yelled at me and told me I was too old to be out trick-or-treating. I felt so bad I gave all my candy to my little brother and just walked with him for the next hour or so. When I got home my mom asked me why I didn't have any candy, so I told her what happened. She asked me who said that to me, and I told her which house. I don't know if she ever did anything about it, but since I've become an adult and bought my own home, I don't care if you're 90 years old. You're getting candy. Halloween is for everyone. Not worst but best. I'm Australian. Halloween isn't really a thing here, but we still get some kids coming to our door at that time of the year. One time my mum had no lollies, candy, to give, so she just gave the little girl a can of soup we had in the cupboard. That girl was thrilled with the can of minestrone she got. She screamed to her parents, "I got soup." Wholesome. Thanks for watching the video. For more content like this, please subscribe, like, and share the video and push the notification button.